Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group, and tonight we're on our education channel, and we have Miss Korri Hall out of KCK, and she's over there at University in Kansas. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Korri.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get down to business. Uh, Tell our audience a little bit about yourself. And as I always say, let's go back to kindergarten and then tell our audience about some of the mentors that help you develop your character and who you are.
Okay. Well, I am a product of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, born and raised. I went to private school, specifically Catholic school, from kindergarten through eighth grade. Yes, I am a Black Catholic. I know a lot of people look at us like, "Whoa, that's different," but born and raised is definitely the religion that I know and understand. I went to St. Patrick's Catholic School in Kansas City, Kansas. It is out by the Legends. And it was interesting. I was definitely the only Black person in my class for 9 years, kindergarten through eighth grade. Um, so I learned a lot in that environment. I learned how it felt to definitely be the only one. Um, there were some things that I went through as a child that I probably didn't understand as a child that I understand now, as far as not being able to do different things or go to my friend's house and things like that. But it definitely was experience. It's definitely an experience that made me. My parents, that's what they wanted. But I was definitely happy when they said I could go to public school. So ninth grade year, I got to go to public school. I was so excited. Went to Schlegel High School, FL Schlegel High School in Kansas City, Kansas. That was a new experience for me. I definitely had to make friends. Even though I lived in the neighborhood, I most of my friends that were in the neighborhood were not my age. So they were either younger or older. I was kind of in the middle of them. So when I got to Schlegel, I was kind of there by myself, but I had to make friends, and it definitely was an experience that I enjoyed. Yes and no, I guess I should say, let's tell the truth. It's hard to make friends when people have been around their friends for so many years and I was new coming in, but I did it. I had fun. I got involved. I did a lot in high school, played every sport you can imagine, was a cheerleader, debate. I did everything you can imagine. I stayed at school literally all day.
Cut. Let me cut into you. I didn't know that you had that skill set. Tell our audience what it was like to be a young athlete, cheerleader, and participate in sports, and how important do you think that is in uh, part of your high school education and growing up? What?
I don't think I wouldn't have done it any other way. I think being involved in your academics, and that means extracurricular, is very important. So being involved in all the different sports, number one, it made me stay on my P's and Q's with my grades because you had to have the grades to actually play. And then it also helped me to network and make friends. That were either like-minded like me, or just get me out of my shell to meet new people. And I think that was great. I really believe kids should be involved in sports or something extracurricular while they're in high school. Even if it's debate or yearbook or forensics or um anything else. It doesn't have to be just sports. Music, my nephew, he sings and plays instruments right now in high school and he loves it. So he's not the sports person, he's the more of the musical person. So
Remember, I told you that Luther Vandross went to high school with me. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm saying you never know what a person will turn out to be per se.
Exactly.
Given some opportunity. So, where did you go your first year of college?
So when after I graduated from Sligo High School, I went off to Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas, and I was there for 5 years. And same thing, I was very active. I joined student government. I joined Black Student Union. At the time, I was majoring in engineering, so I was in National Society of Black Engineers, and then I joined a sorority. So yeah, you definitely
The
got to be
sorority,
involved.
I see you got something hanging around your neck, some type of chain hanging around your neck.
Yes, I am definitely a lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Right.
Uh, almost 30 years now.
All
Mhm.
right. 50 year, I had to go back 51 years. I think I told you I pledged Kappa Alpha Psi and then became an AKA sweetheart. That was,
Oh,
boy, that was, yeah, that was long, that was 1972 really
yeah,
when that took place. But
yeah.
so go on about your education. What degrees do you have and where else did you matriculate?
So, I finished K-State with, I did a 360 there, but that's what life's about. And I think that's kind of why I like the job I have now. When I got to college, I just knew I wanted to be an engineer, no ifs, ands, buts about it, and majored in it for 3 years, and then realized that it really wasn't for me. I didn't really want to be an engineer. I actually wanted to be an astronaut, but that wasn't gonna really happen either because I didn't have the vision, the 2020 vision to be an astronaut.
Oh, but you had obviously you had well, it's obvious to me. You had good mathematical skills.
Well, they weren't the greatest, but I can maintain. But I was able to ask for help when I needed, and that's something that I also deal a lot with my students right now. Is ask for help if you're not understanding it. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. So I was very good at going to ask for help from tutors or whatnot when I actually needed help. Hmm.
All right. So now let's talk about exactly what you do now for a living and give our audience some insight what that entails on a day-to-day basis and put it in a framework of community if you can.
So I am a former high school teacher. So I taught high school for 10 years. And then I started working for a program through the University of Kansas called Gear Up. And it is a federally funded program. So it's a program that works with urban youth. Sometimes in our area is more urban youth, but it can be rural youth. But it's youth who are um, I don't like to focus on it, but usually at a lower income, first gen. A lot of people don't understand what that means, but usually they're the first generation to go to college. So I work with a lot of students like that. And my whole goal and purpose is to expose them to college and help, I'll say, get them to college. And college is not just a 4-year institution. The definition of college is actually post-secondary education. So we want you to either go to a 2-year school, like Kansas City, Kansas Community College, Johnson County Community College, Metropolitan, or Penn Valley, or go to a 4-year school like K-State, KU, Mizzou, uh, or something like that, or trade or technical school. MCC has a really good trade or technical program. Kansas Community College has a really good trade or technical program. We just want you to do something that is after high school, which also has a lot of entails to go into it because it costs money. That means your education is no longer free. So I work with a lot of kids to figure out how to get money for college and how to get that career that they want in the future. Because
Tell me this, do y'all have any affiliation with HBCUs?
yes, we do. I don't want to say affiliation, but we do educate our students on that. So I know with my program, I take a lot of kids on college tours, and I've taken them to different HBCUs to visit to see what it's like because exposure is key. The kids do not know what's out there unless you expose them to it. So, yes, we have taken kids on HBCU college tours.
So, what do you have any specific uh, pet projects? And I think when we talked on the phone, you talked about Upper Bound, and I gave you one of my Upper Bound stories. Run that down.
So our program is a sister program to Upper Bound. So we do pretty much the same thing as Upper Bound, if you're familiar with.
Explain to our community what Upper Bound does. That's remember I said I hadn't heard Upper Bound in 50 years.
Yes, but they still exist. They there. But we just one of the newer programs. We were founded in 1999.
And it
And
was an international program.
yes. So
That's
we
the key.
basically work with students to get them college ready, to expose them to college readiness. So it could be where usually in sixth grade, I start with kids and we talk about what is college, the types of college, um, how do you get to college? What do you need to do when you get to college to get that career, meaning that you have to have a major, and what's the difference between a major and a minor? We do a lot of that type of education that's not part of our actual educational system. Financial literacy is in there, where we're teaching them how to save money for college, and the importance of a 503, a 503c, no, excuse me, a 503b and all that good stuff. But
No, as in nonprofits.
yeah,
Well, I'm
yeah.
saying that people that are not in the don't know that lexicon, they'll be like,
Yeah,
"What is she talking about? 503 highway?"
yeah. No, no, we just talking about a way to save money. And so we talk about that. And then when we get into high school, we talk about the importance of their high school career. A lot of kids don't realize that your high school career from the very first day is recorded, and what you even do on the first day could affect your future. And so you have to understand, when you walk through the doors of whatever high school you walk through, you have to be ready for it. You have to do what you need to do to pass the classes, because those are now required for you to pass in order to graduate, whereas our kids are not used to that because they're coming from an environment where you're just pushed along.
That
And
that that was my next question. Excuse me for cutting you off. What is really paramount? Uh, the family
mhm,
plays, and you have them for a short period of time,
mhm.
and their family environment, and those are some of the things that I feel that we have to work on as educators, and for Miss Nelson is concerned with our urban core, and it seems like your program, like some other programs, construction is built for urban core and uh, the outlying. What did you use? What word did you use? The other people you serve?
Oh, basically either rural or
Yeah,
urban.
the rural. All right. So the urban core and the rural population have surprisingly the same problems: communication uh, with the entities that they need to get services provided for them, and
Right. Very
uh,
much.
yeah, and so having our audience understand what you do in bridging that gap in
Mhm.
those services and counseling and so forth.
Yeah.
So, with all of that being said, what would you have to say in closing that you would like our audience to know?
That okay. So even if you currently do not have a child or a student in high school, we all need to be paying attention to what's going on with our students. Because number one, they're our future. I don't know if everybody really realizes that, but that's the person who's going to be taking care of me when I can't take care of myself. So we need to make sure that we are producing the best citizens that we could possibly produce. And that takes good family life, that takes education, it takes structure. And think about when you were growing up and how much structure you had, and some of that structure I think is going away and disappearing, and it needs to come back because this is our future, and we need to make sure our future is successful. So they need to be successful, and they need our help. That's the
All
bottom
right.
line.
Hold on, let me tell you this. I wanted to comment on two things. I told
Okay.
you how I went to public school and I had shop, 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 and gym, gym, gym. But uh, in a lot of families, my mother and father got a divorce. And
Right.
so told you I was from New York. So my mother runs off to St. Louis because that's where her family and stuff and brings me. I'm in the third grade.
Yeah.
They put me in Catholic school. And so hold it. When I got out of Catholic school was the paddle and and the nuns. And that's when I got out of Catholic school. And when you was talking about being a black Catholic, I was like, yeah, I know all about that. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, but uh, it's very important to have these role models.
Yeah.
And, I always said the paddle didn't hurt me. It hurt me. I'm saying it made me see what I needed to see. They was like, you don't get this right.
Right.
You have a sore butt. I was like, nope, I'm gonna get this right. I'm not gonna have a sore butt.
Right. Right. Right.
And a lot of we need more discipline in our schools. We need more discipline in our homes, and
We
it
need more mentors and role models. Like my mentor and role models were just people that I could see and touch every day. It wasn't somebody from the internet or the TV. My role models was my mom, my cousin Monica. Those were people that I could talk to and see every day to where I was like, yeah, I want to do what they're doing. I want to be like them. So we need to have more of that in our community
but
as
the,
well.
the landscape has changed as such that our communities are spread out, and
Mhm.
really what's left in the urban core, being honest, is the poor of the poor. And that nobody's paying attention to them. And what they have done is they have all these free giveaways, free food, free this, free that, and that's low hanging fruit. And it doesn't inspire you to build your own, to do certain things. And again, to know better is to do better,
Yeah.
and that is what our discussion is. So, as in closing, let me not leave out my boy James Watts. He always be closing his shows like this, Hall. It was
Okay.
a plum pleasing pleasure having you on the show tonight. I'd be
Thank
like, hey,
you.
hey, Watts, cut it out. We snidely whiplash and we strap Sweet Nell to the train tracks and wait for Dudley Do Right to come in. Yeah, that's the type. If you were old enough, the Oakland Raiders,
Uh-huh.
they always had the bad guy image. That's
Yeah.
how I like to be.
Oh,
All
no.
the niceties, people call you in the morning. Good morning. How are you doing? I'll be like, get to what do you want? But as we close, when you invest in your community, you're
Mhm.
really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is brought to you by Kansas City Business Association, working to improve our community.